This is the startup in preset 0. The first thing I'm going to do though is set up the chroma key levels. Like here, there's a whole lot of negative over the foreground, so that's way out of adjustment. Since it's selected for blue, you basically want the background to, you'll need to be using a blue background in this preset. You can write on the video, or you can draw squiggles, etc. like that. Now, if you use texture, come up in this bricks pattern. This is colorized to a negative and drawing cars here. Now if I press the freeze button, then you're getting the live image through. That's colorized also to a negative. Or if you press the colorize button, we'll turn the colorizing off and we go to a positive image. Of course these cars can be moving if you just move the horizontal pan or vertical. I can also press the freeze button again and it will make a still. You can zoom up and grab just an image in that area, protected, where the cars are. Like it won't grab into over a car. Right, so we've got the larger cars there. In fact, we could have them going past still. Right, freeze that, and we've got a little trail of images. To preset 2. This doesn't have a title in it at the moment. I'll just have to edit the title. So whatever title happens to be in the title edit, preset 2 allows you to immediately put it on the screen. So I'll just put a title here that's of very simple nature. This is letters come up differently in the drop shadow. Change the colour to whatever and move it. Right, now of course these titles can be drifting past, in any direction, etc. Sorry, what was that? I'll just go through the. It can be used in other ways than presets later on. Will be more useful than these ones. So are better ones to. This one happens to be quite effective for drawing foliage. To press the draw lock button again, you can draw on there. At the bottom, using the same brush, or you wipe the background without affecting the image. So this demonstrates protected area. Alright, so we move it from this, copy this tree from this point here to this point. And that same position on the tree will be copied across. Now, okay. Now preset 8 is under over. Now this requires chroma key background, and preset 9 has got the same thing except it's sliding sideways and it's colorized. Now we can change the colorizing with the hue saturation value controls. And if we were to change the colorize type in the colorize menu, for instance, if we change that to say shade, then we can just simply darken the image or tinted and shaded in different ways. Zoom up, make the image move faster or in any direction. So I'm just moving the zoom controls and the horizontal and vertical pan controls to make it. The horizontal pan will make it slide, as it is in most presets. Whenever glide is on in the preset, nearly all presets have that on. And the rate of zoom is controlled by that. has got another example of drawing with a brush shape on the stencil. There they are on the image plane. Right, this is preset 11. This one's got rectangles, rectangle drawing in it. Now it's using a very wide brush, right, also in HuSat. So I'll just fill that in again. Right, so I'll just cut this. We've got this brush shape in here. Right. So I've just picked up an area of the screen. Now if I press stop, right, we can pick up another area. Right, or one of these more distinguishable areas over here, for instance. Right, now of course we can change the brush shape to any of these brush shapes or an edited one or whatever. For instance, if we take this edited brush shape here, which is actually a transferred texture, then we can pick up that and plonk it down in. Every time I'm picking up a new one, I'm pressing the stop button. I press stop button, and we get back to the cursor colour, right, which indicates that you're picking up something. And every time you put the pen down, move it around, and then when you lift the pen up, it puts it into the image plane. So, for instance, if we take this brush shape, and we'll just find a bit of spare space there, copy that part, then we take the next part above it and overlay that on over to the side. Oh, and the hair, of course, and things like this. So if there's muck on a picture that's been drawn or painted or something like that, then the cut and paste is good for restoring it, and also for generating textures, etc. Move the hue control progressively down towards the bottom fairly slowly and then start going back up again. You've got a texture wipe using the grid texture. This set of presets here is sort of partly as a demonstration of its potential as business graphics here. Preset 16 has got rubber banding. Preset 17 colorises that and it puts it in an under-over situation where the graph that's drawn goes over the top of the live video. Now if I decolorise, we get the original colours there again. Or colorise and then change the colours around, etc. Now this can also be zoomed, can slide, stretch, stretch, etc. Or if the preset is modified, of course, then we have other combinations. For instance, if we just put Chroma key here instead, then we've got, instead of being in the middle of the graph, we're over the top of it. If we have internal stencil, then the graph is over the top of the live video. Preset 19 is an example of circle drawing in mottled paint type. I'll draw another circle down here, a few more. Right, so it's also in a fairly thick brush. Now of course any of those things can be changed. Precursor to preset 22, and preset 22 won't be anything without using first preset 21, but you can use of course preset 21 on its own. If you use different pan positions in the presets, for instance, the squares would be changing in different fashion. These of course can be changed as well. In all the colorisings now, the colour depth controls the degree of colorising. So if we have it central, colour depth is 0, then there's no colorising, it's normal colours. As we move it up, we get more and more extreme colorising. As we have it just below the 0 point, right, it's a negative of the colorizing, and as we move the color depth control down, it becomes that same colorizing applied to the negative, and becomes more and more extreme. Here we've got pixelation. Pixelation is normally will happen on, say if we have a still image, we can zoom it up, stretch it, etc. But when we zoomed up, we've got a small amount of pixels. Then if we make that image live, it's a pixelated one. Right? If we freeze that again and zoom back, then we've just been modifying that area. Reflected image two ways. So I can change the axis of mirroring. However, if we take it past the centre line, well, in this top corner we get the mirrored image at that point. Of course, these can be colorized as well, and frozen, and etc. Right, this is preset 34. The wipe happens before it becomes decolorized, which is why that was still in that colorizing. I'll just go through that once again. That's what this preset is doing is grabbing a vertical line of the image at a set rate as it goes across the screen. Right, so that's preset 34, and preset 35 is the same, but it's a horizontal line. Okay, preset 36 and 37 are again a pair, and they have this kind of the zoom out and then change thing. This one doesn't require chroma key. There's a similar pair to this, preset 62 and 63, that does require the chroma keying. Then preset 38 is simply strobe. It allows you to draw on the stencil. So define a stencil region. But if I move that down progressively, then again, if you're still, then there's no change. But if you're moving around, then parts of the image become whatever part is defined on the stencil. If I change the rate 2 control, for instance, it slows that right down. Or if I have it up full again and move the pan controls, then I can have the image continually broken up even if it's still, because I'm moving the field store. Again, all those modifications that apply to preset 41 apply here. It's like sepia tone photo taking. So you know, click, click, etc. You know, so it's sort of taking still photos and displaying that still photo of the live colour video at a rate that's controlled by the rate 2 control. It's right up the top. It's not that noticeable, or etc. And of course you can change the colorizing. The sepia tone is a variety of colorizing. And preset 45 has got a shattering between a colorized image and a live unmodified image. Again, controllable by rate 2 with the colorizing modifiable. If I press the freeze button, you can see that the last image, when I press the freeze button, is now frozen. If I unpress the freeze button, you can see it. Sorry about that. This is starting to drift off here. In between. So you can see that I've just been drawing this area. If I get right out of the field, there's nothing visible drawn there. But when I come back into it, but then I press it again and it'll be still, except again that same stencil area is defined. Push to freeze an image. Right? Every time I push the freeze button, we'll grab the image, the current chroma key image. You know, for instance, if I put my hand there, push that and it's grabbed that area just where it was chroma keyed. Preset 59 is the trail preset. It's just whatever the current video is. It just gets trailed over the screen, whatever chroma key area is at the full rate. Preset 61, which is this. Preset 61 again requires chroma key, and it simply is the same trail situation there, except with the field store sliding rapidly in one direction. So if I move the horizontal and vertical pan controls back to 0, then you can see it's just a normal trail. Right? But then if I have them moving very slowly, for instance, to the left, right, you can see that it's just the field store moving. If I make it move faster, right, you can see the images separating from each other and coming back the other way. Right. Then I also make it move up at the same time, and there we have what's normally in preset 61. But of course you can just change these control positions to whatever you like and get a whole bunch of zooming where you zoom and stretch at the same time. There's a whole lot of changes, and also if you go up in an irregular fashion, you can get the head sort of squashing and bobbing around, or whatever. It doesn't have to be heads, of course. Just show you that it's about half a second of video that's captured there in progressively smaller size as the image zooms up. Now 66 is quite an interesting one. This is a colour trail. So instead of trailing parts of the image, it trails the current colour that's determined by this menu here, the colour control menu. So that was on random, right? But if I make that on hue saturation value, for instance, and just wipe the screen to red, now I'll just move the hue control down. Back to red again, or saturation control. Or value control. I'll just make it blue, cyan. Slowly move the saturation control. Now that's the normal content of this preset is with it on random. Now the rate of random colour change is determined by the rate 1 control. So if I have it right up the top, for instance, then the colours are very random, and adjacent colours are virtually completely unassociated. Right? As I move the rate control down, the randomness gets progressively more controlled until right down at the bottom the colours change extremely slowly. Right, now preset 67 is similar to that previous one, right, except it's mirrored. And the live video is not being displayed, it's only the colour that is being displayed. Or music control. And depends on the sound input. Like this, as I'm talking, you can see that the colour is flashing. You know, if I'm silent, we'll go to black. As I talk, there's a treble, mid-range like that, and bass. Tapping the table gives that result, for instance. So preset 82 is colour trail using the colours defined by the audio input. Basically shown this in the other colour trail one by selecting that. For instance, that's treble. The red there is from bass sound, and the green. Green is from a mid-range type of thing, and of course if you have all three together you get the full gamut of 4096 colours and various combinations depending on the sound content. For instance. So that's preset 82. Preset 83 has got a sound-controlled colour tunnel, similar to the previous one, except the colours are now, instead of being trailed behind, coming out from the centre. But again, it's controlled by the current audio input. You can just have, if you press both use stencil and invert stencil, right? Then you won't have the chroma keyed image superimposed over the colour tunnel. Of course, or I could just have it in the chroma key area like that. This is an example of a what's this called, colour tunnel, and in this case, if I move the hue saturation value controls, I'm determining the colour that's just radiating out from the centre.